Leg day, it's time. It is fucking time. So we've hit push, we've hit pull, now it's time to close out this sweep with a leg day for the channel. And don't get it twisted, just because I haven't been posting a lot of leg days, I don't have a lot of leg content in general, that does not mean that I do not train the legs. I do, I train them hard as fuck, and you're about to see. But the problem is they are a lagging muscle group for me currently, because years ago, earlier on in my fitness journey, I went through a big stage where my goals were different than they are now, and I actively did not want big legs. I wanted to be able to like wear jeans, all this dumb shit like fashion stuff. So I actively did like the bare minimum for legs. Sometimes I wouldn't even train legs. I would low-key just let them atrophy on purpose. So we gotta get on them. We gotta get some bigger fucking wheels going. But leg training, bro, fuck. You gotta love it. Like, you gotta love it. It is such a uniquely challenging thing. Like, no other lift hits like a leg day. There is no feeling quite like getting under the fucking bar for squats, getting in that hack, getting in that leg press, knowing you're about to fucking meet God on that bitch for real. Ah, I love that shit. It tests your metal. It tests your metal so good. So that's what we're about to get after. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. All right, see you guys at the gym. Let's run it. We're actually going to start this leg workout off with some direct ab work, and this is going to allow us to hit two birds with one stone, because in directly training the abs, we'll obviously be able to stimulate them and maximize the ab development. But because I put that first instead of like last in the workout, for example, it'll also allow us to really warm up our core properly for when we move into our big compound leg movements. So my bracing on my squats, my deadlifts is going to be a lot more stronger, a lot more stable now that I'm starting out with my abs here. And so I'm just doing this cable crunch here. And this is a great one, I think, to really work on like core stability and core bracing, because it actively takes your spine through flexion. And the best way to do this is to really get down there, try to anchor your hips down to the floor as much as you can, and try to just keep all the movement in your spine flexion, really cue that rib cage opening up and then contracting back down. Okay, so the first direct leg movement that we're gonna hit is a leg extension. Now personally, I actually like to start off with my isolation leg movements before I get into my big compound leg presses. And this just comes down to the fact that I actually want my quads to be pretty fatigued before I get into a leg press, because I simply don't want an insane amount of weight on my like body. I think it's just easier for me to use less weight, because it's easier for me to just control the movement, really load and drive my quads better when I'm using lower weight. So I'll actually start off with my leg extensions and really try to fry my quads as much as I can before moving into my big leg press. If you also feel that you get back pain, knee pain, whatever, from like big heavy leg presses, this is a good tool to implement, because it doesn't mean that you're training soft, like you're not training like a pussy. It just means that you can use less weight and still go just as hard. I think that this is a great way to sequence things, and the leg extension is honestly one of, if not the best quad movements anyways, because it'll target your full quad, including that vastus medialis part that doesn't get hit as well in leg presses. So overall, I think this is a great option, and you can really get the best of both worlds. Also, if you guys saw, I'm using a seat belt right here on my leg extensions, and this is the single greatest investment you can make in gym equipment, bar none. I promise you, you've got to get your hands on a seat belt. I don't have any company sponsoring me, so I'm not plugging this shit. Just go get it off Amazon. But they're super cheap, they're not expensive. If you go off Amazon, just get like a random ass seat belt. And it is a game changer, because what it does is you can anchor your hips down into the machine so they're completely stable. So when you're repping, they won't shoot up, because what happens when they shoot up is you take so much tension off your quads and you just get way less out of the movement. So when you get this, you'll get a much better tension and stretch and drive in your quads, way better output. Amazing investment. This is an absolute must for leg extensions. It's all you. You go in there and you gotta make the conscious choice to be great. You go in there and you're tired, and you don't wanna train, and the last thing on earth that you wanna do is to push that next fucking rep. Where you make the fucking choice. You make the choice to get that rep up. You have to go in that bitch and you gotta make a choice every single fucking day. The burden is entirely on your shoulders. You can choose to be a pussy, or you can choose to be fucking great. We're gonna go with the leg press here. I'm gonna make it more quad biased by putting my stance lower down on the pad. I want it to be as low as possible to where I can get still full contact with my foot. And then I want my stance to be fairly narrow too. So I'm getting more of that like outer quad as opposed to more adductor. So I'll put my stance at around maybe shoulder width, hip width, that type of range. And you'll see me also seat belt up on this one. It just keeps my hips down more, keeps me more anchored in place. Whenever I do big compound leg movements like squats or deadlifts, I always gotta take my shoes off. That's just me personally. You don't necessarily have to do this, but I feel like my feet are always so cramped in shoes. And when you take them off, like you can really spread your toes out, pause, and really get like all those pressure points really locked onto the pad. So like the balls of my feet, my big toe, all that stuff can really like spread out and really anchor down onto the pad. And again, the body's going to work synergistically. So everything's going to stem from the feet up. So you don't want to start in a weird position where your like foot is crumpled up, because you're just not going to be able to transfer force whatsoever in that case. So watch out if your feet are like really tight and they're cramping your toes in and squishing your feet. Definitely try to take your shoes off on these big compound movements, because you want to be able to have a nice strong base to transfer tension properly throughout your body. And then the final thing with this is, as I come down, I'm actually cueing internal rotation with my hips. So I'm trying to drive my knees forward as far as possible and kind of in too. I want to keep it all on that internal rotation and not drive my legs out, because in a nutshell, all that's doing is compressing your pelvis and putting you in a bad position. Whereas if you try to keep your knees in more, it's only tension on the quads. right, so we're done with quads and now we're gonna move into some hamstrings. And the exact same system is going to apply. I'm gonna start with an isolation movement for the hamstrings to get them nice and sort of fatigued before I move into a big stiff-legged movement so that I don't have to move as much weight, put as much load on my body when I get to that big compound. I can get more out of less. So anyways, I opted to go for the lying hamstring curl. And normally I don't love to do this because I feel like it's easy to let your body compensate, because if your hips are shooting up, you're just losing tension on the hamstrings, losing out on range of motion. So it's sort of a difficult movement to execute. It takes a lot of like technical skill, I feel like, but it's all we really had. And this one's actually pretty good. So I got a nice connection with the hamstrings, was able to get the job done. So now we're gonna move into some stiff-legged, so let's get it. We're going with the Smith stiff-legged deadlift. So with this one, it's a lot of the same cues as my quad compound. I had to go barefoot, only way to really get that proper tension points in the feet. And then I'm also still driving internal rotation the entire time. So when I set up to start the deadlift, I'm really trying to drive all the pressure into like my inner heel, the inner balls of my foot, and then really drive up in the hamstrings like that. And that will really blow up the hamstrings. So we did 2 sets there. Now we're gonna finish off with some calves to wrap up the workout. Normally I would recommend some sort of straight leg calf press, because that's gonna do a better job at targeting the full calf. But in this session, I'm just gonna go seated, and it's not the most optimal by any means. The whole science-based community is gonna say it's a bad movement to do, but I literally don't care. As you guys know, I'm turning more bro by the day. I'm going to the dark side. I'm just gonna do these seated calves because I get a great connection with my calves. Let's wrap up this workout, let's get it. All right, that was a lift. I hope you enjoyed that. And I just wanted to wrap up this video by reminding you that if you want to be great, you got to do what the average person will not do. The only way you get to where other people aren't is if you're willing to do what they won't do. If you can do what they can't fucking tolerate. That's how you become fucking great. You get in that bitch and you leg press till you see stars. And you deadlift that bitch till you cannot lift that weight off the ground anymore. That's what sets you apart. Man, I walked in the gym, the first person I see is my ex-girlfriend. You think that shit rattled me? Do you think I was like, oh, and then I fucking had a terrible lift? Fuck no! That shit can't touch me. This shit is fucking imperturbable, whatever the fuck, right? When I'm in the gym, I'm locked. Because I'm going to a place that these motherfuckers cannot touch, right? If I was the average person, yeah, that would get to me. And I have a bad lift. And when the weight got fucking heavy on these leg presses, on these RDLs, I would give in. But that's not me. Because I'm gonna be great. And what that means is that I will do what the average person cannot do. I cannot be rattled up here, bro. That's what it fucking takes. Mentally, you gotta put yourself above the pack, above the herd. There cannot be a person in that gym that can tell you shit. You have to have that unbeatable mentality. That unbeatable mentality. Stick out like a sore thumb and embrace it, because you know you're doing something right if you're moving different than the fucking pack. You feel me? Woo! Hope you guys enjoyed this leg day video. Fucking, you gotta love leg days. Like I said, man, it's a chance to really give it your all, like no other muscle group. Nothing else hits like legs. If you want to support me, you can use code Owen at Intelligent Elephant, Intelligent Shop. And also go grab my fucking training guide. The link is in the description. That will help you build your best physique. I have a whole breakdown section on legs, specifically how to develop leg aesthetics, which muscle groups you need to prioritize, how to get the right proportions, all that. Go grab that. And also, I should say, by the time this is out, we got some big stuff on the horizon. A good collab coming up, so stay tuned. Anyways, peace.